Hi, everyone. Mike Anderson here with Fantasy Avenue. This is not a normal episode. This is more of a call out for a new project that I'm thinking about starting. This episode will come out post Coach Flynn, and we'll kind of talk about. I don't know how much we talked about on that episode, but this will be maybe a 5-minute clip, really just outlining the future of this podcast and of another project I'd love to start. First of all, this podcast, super excited for this upcoming season. We just had the episode 1 of this season with Flynn, and that vibe is the exact thing I need. I have thought about getting into the office and tried to get in the office recording a podcast by myself after recording with him and with other people, and it's just not the same, Thinking about both for me in terms of as I'm recording the podcast and for my listeners, I just think it's so much more fun to do it with other people, and I understand that some people, can do it by themselves, and I have done it by myself for a couple of years. But you look at like general sports podcasts; they're all with people, and it's just because it's more fun. So that's something I love to do. That's something that me and Coach Flynn have talked about doing. Maybe I'll start calling him JP because he's not my coach anymore. Haven't talked to him about that. That'd be funny though. JP. That's more of a co-host name, right? Not so much a football player or coach, but a fellow podcaster. Anyway, that's what Fantasy Avenue is. I want Fantasy Avenue to be entertaining, and I want people to be able to listen to it who necessarily aren't super into fantasy football. And I think having 2 hosts will make that easier. But it's also just better practice, more fun. It's going to be easier for me to do in college when there's a lot of change, and it'd be hard to sit down and do it on my own. But it would be, instead of just being like, ooh, I need to sit down and do this like it's homework, it's, oh, this is a time I can have like some interaction with someone who I really appreciate for my life in Bozeman. That's what I want it to be, and that's what I'm really excited for. And then kind of flipping from that point, because I want to adhere to people who aren't necessarily super connected to fantasy football, and that's always been a thing, is like my friends would love to listen, and some do, but not consistently because they just don't really know, I am thinking about starting kind of a new podcast, a new project, where it's really just these open-ended, huge conversations. I've had a couple. They're long. They're very, Joe Rogan has the biggest podcast in the United States. It's completely just they talk about whatever. He brings on interesting people, and they just talk without any real central focus. It changes episode to episode. That's what I've done. I've done 2 so far. I'm wanting to do another one very soon. Where I'm getting like. I kind of have to edit them, kind of have to shape them down a little bit. But I'm thinking about releasing them soon. I got to think of like a name, and I got to obviously ask the people who are in it if it's okay, and then kind of find because there needs to be consistency, right? But I think it'd be so fun to say I'm doing a podcast. Like, hey, you want to be on my podcast with my friends? Like, let's just talk because that's what friends do. And I want to be able to go through all the people I know in Bozeman and then in Tennessee and be like, do you want to be on my podcast? We just talk about whatever, and it's super fun. We just kind of sit around. It's super enjoyable. Last night we made one at 10 p.m. till midnight, and those late night conversations really hit. I think they're really, really enjoyable, honestly. And so I'm not sure how many people are listening to this who would listen to that. Obviously, I'm going to try to get the word out more of this is my new podcast. And then, again, another way that I'm going to be able to do that is by getting these people who I'm recording them with. Like last night was Jack and Lincoln, getting them to kind of spread the word, because I want people to listen. I want it to be fun. I want to record one with a lot of people. I think it'll be a super just different idea, and I'm really looking forward to it, not only as a way to continue my kind of focus of practicing this, as my dream is to be a sports broadcaster when I'm older, and that's kind of why I started the Fantasy Football Podcast. But this is just not only a way to practice, but a way to just interact with my friends and to keep connections and to really go like this is just a fun random thing that nobody does. And I think it'll be really cool. So anyway, that's what this episode is, just a call out for the future of Fantasy Avenue and a future of a new project I am hoping to start soon, and before the summer's over, record a lump sum of episodes that I can release over time, and then once I get to Nashville, continue episodes, both calling people in and with people who are also going to Vanderbilt with me. So that's what it's going to be. Thanks all for listening. Stay tuned for more Fantasy Avenue and for new podcasts in the future. And that's it. Have a good rest of your day, week, month, and I'll see you guys very soon.